Welcome to a Pokemon Unite showcase on Espeon. Espeon is a ranged special attacker with decent crowd control and high burst damage through casting abilities. Either way, you'll mostly go to the bottom lane, but the top lane can be fine as well. Your passive ability while still EV is Anticipation. Whenever EV is affected by hindrance, such as a stun or slow, it'll be negated and EV will be immune to hindrance for a short time. This will have a 45-second cooldown. At level 4, once you become Espeon, the passive ability becomes Magic Bounce, which basically is the same passive ability, just that you'll also deal damage and slow enemies for a short time who attempted to inflict the hindrance. Eevee's attacks become boosted every third attack, dealing increased damage. Espeon's attack become boosted every 5 seconds, firing a beam that deals increased damage and slowing enemies for 1 second. At level 1, you can start off with either Swift or Growl. Swift launches stars at a specific area, damaging anyone in the path, and Growl will damage and slow an enemy for 2 seconds. At level 4, you'll upgrade Swift to Psyshock or Stored Power. Psyshock is a direct upgrade to Swift, dealing a lot of damage and also slowing enemies by 15% for each projectile that hits. If all the projectile hits, it'll stun the enemy for a short moment. Stored Power unleashes projectiles at random enemies within the area, dealing damage and slowing them. Max 5 projectiles can be unleashed at the same time and will charge up every 2 seconds, or when you hit with a boosted attack. After this move is used, your movement speed will increase for a brief moment. At level 6, you'll upgrade Growl to Psybeam or Future Sight. Psybeam will shoot a ray in a designated direction. If it hits an enemy, it'll split and deal damage to enemies around as well. It'll deal even more damage to enemies around if the main target had higher max HP, meaning you'll want to aim this at tanky enemies. If you have slowed enemies with Stored Power or stunned enemies with Psyshock, and then shoot Psybeam while they are slowed or stunned, then everyone around will get slowed or stunned too. Future Sight will lock onto an enemy, dealing damage after a few seconds. The less HP they have, the more damage it'll deal. While locked onto a target, your other move will target that enemy, meaning you don't have to aim. While damaging an enemy that is targeted, the cooldown of Future Sight will get reduced by 0.8 seconds. If an enemy is locked on by Future Sight but gets KO'd before the move ends, your other move's cooldown will reset and get powered up for a single use. Psyshock will deal more damage, and Stored Power will unleash more projectiles and will restore your HP. At level 8, Espeon learns Psychic Solaire, which will launch enemies in the air to stun them. After a delay, an explosion occurs that deals damage and shoves enemies. Going for Psyshock and Psybeam for the highest amount of damage requires really good aiming, which can make it really hard. In which case, you could go for Future Sight instead of Psybeam for a bit more consistency. If you don't want to aim at all and focus a bit more on mobility, then you could do Stored Power, which won't synergize too well with Psybeam, but will synergize well with Future Sight, since Future Sight allows you to aim your Stored Power at a specific locked target. And if Future Sight resets Stored Power's cooldown, it'll heal you up for each projectile you hit for better survivability. Just keep in mind that Future Sight can be cleansed with Full Heal or a few abilities. For items, you'll typically want Choice Specs, Wise Glasses to boost special attack, and Energy Amplifier to boost damage and cooldown reduction. Alternatively, you could also go with defensive items like Buddy Barrier or Focus Band. For the battle item, you'll typically want the eject button to make up for Espeon's poor mobility. For emblems, you'll want to focus on maxing out Black, which is cooldown reduction, and Green, which is special attack. Having some points in defense, special defense, and HP can be good too. Keep in mind that this is just a basic showcase, as with the nature of MOBAs, patches will be rebalancing and changing a few things on abilities, moves, items, or even the stage. You can also check out the website UniteDB.com or the MathCore Discord for the current best builds on each Pokemon in Unite as the meta develops. There is even an emblem builder on UniteDB.com. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoy these videos and find them helpful, then please consider helping me out on Patreon.